Hey everyone, it's Steve with another episode of Keep 'em Rolling. In fact, the first episode of 2022. I want to take a moment and wish you all Happy New Year. I hope your holidays went fantastic, and I hope that 2022 turns out to be the best year of your life so far. That is my wish for all of you. As you can see, I am not in my usual haunt, if you will, for shooting videos. In fact, I really never intended to shoot this video at all. My last video, I had mentioned that I was going to be doing the groupings video, the video that was requested by one of you. And that video is almost finished. I have a little bit more to do on it. It turned out to be a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be, simply because I didn't want to just show you stuff. I wanted to tell the story of this man's life, and that took, a little bit of thinking, a little bit of different editing and the like. So that's why it's not up yet, but it will be up this weekend. That's the good news. This video, as I said, I had no intention of shooting it, but, well, the weather in the Midwest caused our flight to be delayed for a few days, and that gave me a few extra days down here enjoying the balmy weather, so I figured, why not shoot a recent pickup video? Now, unfortunately, I have not found much down here, which is kind of surprising. I visited 2 major flea markets and 5 massive antique malls. We're talking 30,000 square feet each, and just not a lot of military items. I don't know if Central Florida the stuff's just not here because people left it back up north when they retired here. I don't know what to tell you, but it's just very little. And I'm not talking stuff that I decided not to buy. I'm talking just not finding anything. Literally, one antique mall, I walked through the whole thing and did not see one piece of militaria. So kind of surprising. But I did find a few items, so let's get right into it. Okay, first things I picked up were at a flea market. It was the first flea market I visited. In fact, it's kind of funny. It was almost like the second booth that we stopped in. And it was an interesting couple. I don't know if it was a husband and wife, or boyfriend, girlfriend, or just a man and a woman, friends, or what their relationship was. But I spotted these right here, and I liked them. I mean, it's a pen set. It's missing the pens, but you can find these at your major office supply store, and they're fairly inexpensive. So I'm going to replace the pens, and that way I'll have a nice desk set. These will actually go on my desk in my war room, so I'll always have a pen available. What I think these were is, I think these were off maybe a desk set that someone made for him, possibly his men, maybe for a celebration, for a commemoration, for his retirement, who knows. What I was able to obtain from the woman who was selling these was that they belonged to her father. And she said her father was a colonel in the Signal Corps, which makes sense since we have a colonel and the Signal Corps. She said his last name was Roy, so Colonel Roy. She didn't really have when he served. My guess, looking at these, probably maybe the 60s, maybe into the early 70s. I like how they made them with the insignia, and then I like that they used the orange felt, which is the color for, orange being the color for Signal Corps, so I thought that was kind of cool. The interesting thing about this was that she had these for $1 each, so a total of $2 for these. But then she had some other things from him, including like a commemorative plate that was more like commemorating a special date for the Signal Corps. It wasn't related directly to him. But it was interesting because like the plate was like $95, and then she had a booklet from the Army War College, and that was like $75. So I found it interesting that those items were like incredibly expensive, but something like this was only $2. Go figure. That's the flea market for you. So that is all I found at the first massive flea market. Now, the second flea market was even bigger, and the stuff there was really interesting to look at. It was a lot of your estate sale type of things. In other words, it wasn't like knockoff purses and stuffed animals and vitamins and cereal. It was actual stuff to look through, but once again, just not much in the way of military. And when I realized I wasn't going to be finding uniforms or field gear or foot lockers or things like that, I began to start looking in the cases and looking carefully, and that's where I found this item. This right here was in a gentleman. He had a bunch of fishing tackle and other things, and he had this, and I absolutely love this. This is a little P38 can opener. Now, you can still buy these today. You can buy modern equivalent, quarter, 50 cents. I think you can go online and find them for like 1,000 for 10 bucks or what have you. They're not as well made, I have found, as the actual military issue. I like this one for a couple of reasons. Number one, I like the fact that it retains about 90% of its chrome plating, which is just beautiful. It doesn't look like it was ever used. I also like the fact that it has the company on here and the date, which you don't see that often. The company on here, it's hard for it to show up on the camera, is the Koolaire, Koolaire company, dated 1951, which puts this right smack dab in the middle of the Korean conflict. Just a unique little piece. And he wanted, actually, I don't know how much he wanted. The sticker was hidden. I asked him how much he wanted. He began to open the case and said, "I'll take $3 for it." He pulled it out and he went, "Uh-oh, crud." It says $5. There was actually a $5 price tag on the back side, and he's like, "I told you 3, I'll take 3." So I paid him the $3. And this right here will go on display in my Korean War kind of shelf, if you will. So just a neat find for $3. Now, continuing on around, I ran into a gentleman who had a pile of Insignia on his table, and it was all old Insignia, World War I era. And I kind of dug through it, looking at the different pieces, and I found 3 pieces I really, really wanted. I checked them over, double-checked just to make sure. He had a neat table, once again, lots of tools, fishing tackle, things like that. I formulated a price of how much I wanted to pay for the 3 items, and I figured $25 was what I want to pay for the 3 items. I asked him what he was thinking. He said he wanted to sell all the Insignia together, and that, which I was kind of like, because whenever you hear that, usually it means you're going to be looking at a lot of money. And he said, how about $25 for all of it? And my brain froze. You get that every once in a while where someone gives you a price and it's so unexpected that you just kind of, you glitch there a little bit and you're just like, and I was trying to process what he just said, and he took that as me hesitating, maybe not being interested in the items. So he immediately countered with, "Well, I'll do 20 if that'll help you." And that even glitched me more, but I was able to get out kind of a yes, I'll take it type of thing. And let me show you what I got for the $20. So we'll start with this right here. Now, I want to start with this because this is not military. What you have here is a Masonic mourning badge, and this would be something, and I'm not well versed in Masonic rules and regulations, so I may be speaking out of school here. If I am and someone wants to correct me, go ahead. From what I understand, this type of badge would have been worn on the Masonic, or would be worn on a Masonic uniform if you are mourning the loss of someone in your lodge. So if one of your fellow lodge members passed away, you would wear this out of respect. Or if someone prominent within the organization passed away, you may be requested to wear this out of respect. Why I want to show you this is because this is oftentimes confused as a military award or decoration, and it's not. So if someone tries to sell you something like this, telling you it's some rare military award, don't buy it unless you are a collector of Masonic memorabilia. Okay, and once again, I'm not trying to be disparaging towards Masonic collectors. It's really kind of a cool thing that they collect. It's just not what I collect. I just want to set the record straight. A lot of times it's confused as military because when people are cleaning out a house, they'll come across a box that will have a mixture of military insignia and Masonic insignia. So the gentleman might have served in the military and been a Mason, and it got all jumbled together. So they all throw it in one bag, and people, just because it's got that nice kind of seal on there, the Great Seal, people automatically assume that it's military, but it is not. But that was in the bag. And, the price on those, they tend to sell for no more than around $10 to $15. So and once again, I'm not disparaging Masonic collectors at all. I just want you to have the knowledge for yourself so you don't make a mistake and buy something that you think is military and it's not. Now, also in this bag, we had some second lieutenant rank. We have one second lieutenant bar here, probably early World War II, could be just pre-World War II. It's a nice one. It is marked. It's pin back, just a single bar, Utica, New York. And then we have a really nice World War I second Louis bar. And this one is the coffin lid. So if you flip it to the side, let's do it this way. Oh my gosh. How's that? There you go. Now you can see that coffin lid. Because it does. It looks like a coffin lid. Kind of morbid if you ask me, but it does have that look. Just a really nice piece of insignia. It's a hollow back. It has the pin, the hook, everything about it. And remember, everything here was a grand total of $20. I have a nice World War I officer's collar US. This is also a pin back, as you can see. I have a set of United States Reserve officer insignia. Try and get that so you can see both of them there. A little bit of wear on them. Unfortunately, this one here is missing the pin, which is too bad. Now, the good news is it's complete. It still has the little hooks, etc. So I have a jeweler friend who may be able to make a new pin for me. And that's something to look for. If you notice a piece of insignia is missing the pin, check to see if it's broken off. Any of the little hooks are broken off. If not, you may be able to get a jeweler to fix that for you. I have a nice single World War I era captain's bar here. And this piece, it's beautiful. I love that rope work in the metal. It's hollow back with the hook and the pin. Unfortunately, somebody whammoed this. I don't know what happened to it, if it got stepped on, if it got crunched by something heavy, but it's a little out of shape. So once again, I'm going to ask my jeweler friend what he can do. Now, in here, we have some officer artillery insignia, also which would be worn on the collar. And these are complete. They're hollow back, and they do have that nice pin, once again, as I stated, I think I stated it, I don't know, World War I era. And then I have a third one here, and unfortunately this third one is missing the pin on the back. So once again, it's got all the attachments, so hopefully my jeweler friend can come up with something to fix it. Now, all of that was $20. But the reason I wanted to buy it, the reason I was looking at this was for these three pieces right here. The first is a really nice little World War I discharge button. This would be the button that would be worn on your suit to show people that you've been honorably discharged from World War I. These were incredibly important, especially if you were discharged before the war ended. You could wear this on your suit and people would know that you had done your service, and that could avoid some potential grief, if you will. The real thing I wanted, though, was this right here. We have a beautiful, absolutely stunning matching set of miniature captain's bars, World War I era. The rope work on these are beautiful. These are solid silver. Check that out. They are heavy. I mean, really heavy. And more importantly, they're stamped on the back with B, B, and B. BB and B stands for Bailey, Banks, and Biddle. And Bailey, Banks, and Biddle at this time were the premier manufacturer of military insignia, the high end, if you will, of military insignia. You could call them the Tiffany, if you will. So finding Bailey, Banks, and Biddle insignia is really unique and really cool. And these pieces right here, this little set, you might be looking at upwards of $75 for this set. So that's why I was so tickled to be able to add this to my collection. And where these will go is I will probably put them in a like a Riker mount box, and they will go on my World War I era display shelf, so I can have them prominently displayed. Now, at the same flea market, to kind of finish it out, we stopped at a table. My dad was looking, some things caught his eye. I was just kind of tired. We were at the end of the day. I was leaning up against a table. I happened to look down and found this. And I am a sucker for those homemade World War I toys. It's very simple. It's just some wood glued together, some dowel rods here for the smokestacks, but I just love it. Little sticker here that's been glued on. And, you know, I was looking at it. I asked the lady how much for the little boat, and she was like, well, that's the dollar table, so obviously it's $1. And I was delighted to add this to my toy collection. I love the World War II era toys. So that concluded my adventure to the flea market. Not a whole lot, but some cool things. It just meant that I had to do a lot more digging versus just kind of skimming over the tops of the tables. All right, it was at this point that I was able to visit some antique malls. As I stated, I visited 5. One mall, literally walked in, was able to walk to the mall in 15 minutes and walk out with nothing. Second mall, pretty much the same thing. Walked in, walked through in about 15 minutes, walked out with nothing. These malls were very kitschy, very kind of that pseudo antique craft stuff. A lot of dishes, linens, furniture, knickknacks, figurines, and such. So walked out with nothing. The third mall I visited, I came away with a couple of things. The first was this little pin right here. I have a kind of an interesting collection of in-service jewelry. I love the in-service jewelry, and for those of you who don't know what that is, in-service jewelry was the jewelry that mimicked the flags that would hang in the window of the home that had the stars on them, and those flags showed people that you had someone in the service. So if you had 1 star, that meant 1 person, 2 stars, 2 people, 3 stars, etc., etc. And it could represent anyone. 1 star could be your husband, your father, your brother, an uncle, a nephew, an aunt, a mother, a sister, you know, with the female branches and the like. If you saw a silver star, there supposedly were a few of these. I've never seen these, but I read in one of the manuals that a silver star represented someone who had been wounded, and then a gold star meant that the individual had been killed while serving their country. So you kind of treaded lightly if you saw a gold star hanging in a window. But the jewelry mimics. So this person right here, 3 stars means 3 people serving their country. And you will see the 1 stars quite frequently. 2 stars, sometimes 3 stars are rare. So when I saw this little tiny, it's amazing, a little tiny piece, something this small, I mean, it's not even, it's about as big as my fingernail, has survived, but it has, and 3 stars are great. The price on it was a whopping $3.40 plus, I think it was 20% off. So I got it for under the $3 range. So that was a neat find, and that will go right in my in-service jewelry case, which we'll have to do a video on toys, and we'll have to do a video on in-service jewelry. So second thing I found at this second thing I found at this antique shop was this little kit right here, indelible marking outfit. I like this little kit simply because this is, you know, we always see the laundry marks in the uniforms and on the field gear, and it's neat to see the kit that put those laundry marks on. This was $10, so it wasn't a giveaway. The box is a little damaged. You can see where I think either it got wet or it's just the ink and stuff got on here and it gradually wore. What I like is on this side, it does have the soldier's last name and initials and his full serial number. In this box, we have everything. We have the little glass bottle here with the ink. We have the ink pad that you would put the ink on to then use to stamp. We have the little brush here that you would spread that ink around with to, you know, get it ready for stamping. And then we have his custom-made rubber stamp with his laundry number here. As you can see, it is M7965 stamped on there. And what's unusual is when you look at the box has it stamped as 7985. Maybe it's a 6 that has been stamped wonky. But regardless, it's neat. Now, unfortunately, I've tried researching this gentleman. I have come up with absolutely nothing. The nearest I can figure is that he was regular Army. I think that's with that number with the 1-1 at the start, or 1-4. I put him in like the Florida area. Regular Army, 1940, 1941. So I'm going to have to do further research, but it's frustrating. I'd like to have had him come up in the NARA database or one of the others. So, but this little kit right here, what I'm going to do with this is I will put this on display with my Foot Locker, and I'll probably do something where I'll have the box set up, you know, where you can see the instructions like this, and then I'll have like the ink out, and then I'll have the little pad with the brush balanced on it, and the stamp maybe balanced on it or something like that. And then I will spread out a cartridge belt or something like he's getting ready to stamp it. And that's something for all of you. Keep in mind when you buy these things, don't just put it on a shelf, you know, don't just, okay, I bought this, it's cool, I'm just going to slip that on the shelf and that's it. Figure out a way to kind of display it, to kind of bring it to life. And it doesn't have to be permanent. Stuff in my room changes all the time. I take things down, I put new things up, I change things with the seasons. It keeps it fresh, and it allows me to get out other things I've purchased and enjoy them. So keep that in mind. Now, the very last thing I bought, and to conclude this video, wow, that is rough. I have gotten into a new hobby, and I don't know if that's good or bad. There's a lot of things I like to do. I have my Jeep. I do Civil War reenacting, and we'll get into that in some future video. But I've gotten into something new, and I picked up one thing while I'm here. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's trains. I don't recommend that you get into trains because it is highly addictive. I don't have my own layout at this moment, but I do belong to a club that has a layout where I can go and run my trains. So I did purchase, you can see I got the original box here, I did purchase a Lionel post-war caboose. This is a light-up caboose. It's an absolutely beautiful shape. Dates from 47 to 50, 1947 to 1950. I'm not going to talk about it because that's not what this channel is about. Trains may sneak in here and there, but just so you know, yes, I have gone down that rabbit hole. So if you want to know more about that, let me know. I've been toying around with toying around with possibly having a channel on trains, but I don't think I have enough to do that at this particular moment. So forgive me for that slip there with the trains. But that's pretty much everything I found. Not a lot of stuff, but some fun stuff. You know, anytime you find stuff's fun stuff, am I right? So that concludes the video. So everybody, once again, I hope 2022 is a great year for all of you. I'm looking forward to doing more videos for you this year. For those of you who have stuck with me throughout all of these past years, thank you for being subscribers. For those of you who are new subscribers, welcome to the channel. I hope that you enjoy these videos. And just so you know, I do have some plans for the channel. I'm hoping to get to that 1,000 subscriber mark. I'd love to be there at some point this year. And if I reach 1,000 subscribers, we're going to do another giveaway. For those of you who remember the last one, it was real fun. And then when I hit 1,000, it'll allow me to do different things with the features on YouTube. One of them is I'd like to be able to do like live broadcasting where we go to a military show and we're actually there in real time. I think that would be fun, but I can't do that until I hit 1,000, which is unfortunate. So, you know, if you haven't subscribed, please feel free to do so. And if you want to leave comments, what have you, feel free to do so. But on that note, Happy New Year, and this is Steve, reminding all of you to keep them rolling.